Above them, the star continued to dim, its energy flowing into the Prometheus's storage systems, but Maya's eyes were fixed on the alien fleet, waiting for an answer that could either bridge the gap between species or ignite a war born of fear. The real monster, she thought, wasn't the machine collecting energy from a dying star. It was fear itself, fear of the unknown, fear of what looked different, fear of change. And somehow, they had to find a way to help their galactic neighbors face that fear before it was too late for everyone. The Titanium Fleet, Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the command center of Earth Defense Station Alpha, watching the holographic display of humanity's harvester fleet with a mixture of pride and concern. 20 massive ships, each carrying the hopes and power needs of billions, spread across different star systems. And now, each one was being shadowed by alien vessels. "Status report on the Helios operation," she commanded, her voice steady despite the tension headache building behind her eyes. "Harvester Helios 7 is approaching the target star in the Vega sector," reported Captain Rodriguez. "Local alien presence has doubled in the last hour. They're maintaining attack formations but haven't made any aggressive moves." Sarah studied the tactical display. The alien ships had grown more organized over the past month, coordinating their movements across multiple systems. What had started as scattered observations had evolved into a calculated containment strategy. And the star's condition, exactly as predicted. Terminal phase, energy output dropping. Perfect candidate for harvesting. Rodriguez paused, checking another readout. But the aliens? They're broadcasting something new. The translation appeared on Sarah's personal screen. "Your machine is consuming the light of creation. The coalition of stellar preservers demands an end to this abomination." "Coalition of stellar preservers," Sarah muttered. "So they formed an alliance against us." She hadn't expected them to organize so quickly. The main screen showed Helios 7 deploying its massive titanium panels, each one gleaming in the dying star's light. The ship looked magnificent, humanity's greatest achievement in engineering. But through alien eyes, she could understand the terror it inspired. The massive machine, approaching a star with panels spread wide like some celestial predator, did look frighteningly like something out of ancient myths. "Ma'am," Rodriguez's voice was tense. "We're detecting power surges from multiple alien vessels. They might be preparing to." "Incoming transmission," interrupted Lieutenant Park. "It's different, not from the coalition ships." A new voice filled the command center, speaking in carefully practiced English. "Humans of the Harvester Fleet, I am Scientific Observer Zaxtel of the Meridian Conclave. We have been studying your operations. We request direct dialogue." Sarah straightened. This was new. The Meridian Conclave was known for their scientific achievements, keeping themselves separate from most interstellar politics. "Put them through to my private channel." The alien's image appeared on her screen, a tall, silvery being with multiple sensory organs arranged in a spiral pattern. "Admiral Chen," it said, "your harvesters trouble many species, but some of us see patterns others miss. We have questions. We're happy to answer them." Sarah replied carefully. "We've been trying to explain our technology since first contact." "Your machines," Zaxtel continued, "they take only from dying stars. You leave younger stars untouched. This suggests purpose beyond simple consumption." "Yes," Sarah felt a flutter of hope. "We harvest only the energy that would otherwise be lost when a star dies. We're not destroying anything. We're preserving energy that would be wasted." The alien's sensory organs shifted, a gesture Sarah couldn't interpret. "The coalition fears you will move to healthy stars once the dying ones are consumed. They prepare for war based on this fear." Sarah's heart sank. "We would never." "I believe you," Zaxtal interrupted. "But belief is not enough. The coalition grows stronger. They speak of containment, of isolation, of destroying the titanium beasts before they can spread." On the main screen, Helios 7 had begun its harvest. The dying star's energy flowed into its panels in visible streams of light, beautiful to Sarah, but terrifying to those who didn't understand. "What do you suggest?" Sarah asked. "Allow Meridian observers on your harvesters. Let us study, understand, verify. Perhaps we can bridge the gap between fear and knowledge." Sarah thought about Maya Santo's earlier offer to the alien fleet. Perhaps this was how it started, not with grand diplomatic gestures, but with simple scientific curiosity. "Agreed," she said. "But in return, I want the Conclave to share their findings with the Coalition. They need to understand what we're really doing out here." "Acceptable." Zaxtel's sensory organs arranged themselves in what might have been a smile. "Perhaps your titanium fleet will help us understand more than just stellar mechanics." As the transmission ended, Sarah turned back to the tactical display. The alien coalition ships still surrounded Helios 7, weapons charged, but now a small Meridian vessel was approaching, its sensors actively scanning the harvester. "Continue operations," she ordered. "But make sure our new observers see everything. It's time to show them what humanity's monsters really are." The command center hummed with activity as the harvest continued. Outside, among the stars, humanity's titanium fleet continued its vital work, while aliens watched and waited, some in fear, some in curiosity, all of them about to learn that sometimes what looks like a monster is simply survival wearing an unfamiliar face. Bridge of Understanding. Dr. Marcus Zhang stood in the observation deck of Harvester Helios 7, watching the Meridian scientists examine their energy collection systems. HFY moved with surprising grace despite their crystalline form, multiple appendages carefully manipulating the holographic displays showing the harvester's internal workings. "Fascinating." HFY's translated voice hummed through Marcus's neural interface. "Your titanium alloy doesn't just collect energy, it optimizes the collection process over time. Self-improving technology." Marcus nodded, trying to hide his excitement. After weeks of tension, finally having an alien scientist who actually wanted to understand their technology was almost overwhelming. The molecular structure adapts to different wavelengths of stellar radiation. The more energy it processes, the more efficient it becomes. "Like a living thing," HFY observed, their crystalline body refracting the light from the dying star outside. Perhaps this is why others fear it. It appears to grow stronger as it feeds. The observation struck Marcus hard. He'd never thought of it that way. But from an outside perspective, the harvesters must look like evolving predators, getting better at consuming their prey with each harvest. "But you're not afraid," Marcus said carefully. HFY's crystal fragments shifted in what Marcus had learned was their equivalent of a shrug. "The Meridian Conclave believes in understanding before judging. Your machines are remarkable, elegant solutions to complex problems. They appear threatening only because their true nature is misunderstood." An alert chimed softly, drawing their attention to the main display. The harvest was entering its critical phase, energy streaming from the dying star in visible rivers of light. The titanium panels glowed with absorbed power, their surface patterns shifting as they adapted to the energy flow. "Watch closely," Marcus said, pulling up additional data streams. "See how we're only capturing the excess radiation. The star's core remains stable. We're not accelerating its death. We're just preventing its final energy from being wasted." HFY moved closer to the display, their crystalline sensors absorbing every detail. "The Coalition believes you're killing stars for power. But you're more like energy archaeologists, preserving what would otherwise be lost to time." "Exactly." Marcus felt a surge of hope. "We tried explaining this to the Coalition, but they wouldn't listen. They only saw the surface, massive machines approaching dying stars. Fear makes for poor observation," HFY noted. "But data speaks clearly to those willing to listen." They turned their primary sensor cluster toward Marcus. "My preliminary findings have already been transmitted to the Conclave. They are most interested." Before Marcus could respond, An urgent message flashed across his neural interface. His heart raced as he read it. HFY, how quickly can your people share scientific findings with other species? The alien scientist's crystals pulsed with curious light, near instantaneously through the Galactic Information Network. Why? Marcus took a deep breath. We've detected a problem. A big one. The Coalition's containment strategy. Their ships maintaining attack positions around our harvesters. It's affecting local space-time in ways we didn't predict. Their energy weapons' constant state of charge is creating a cascading resonance effect. He pulled up a new simulation, showing the complex web of gravitational forces at play around the dying star. The Coalition ship's positions, meant to threaten the harvester, were actually creating a dangerous feedback loop with the star's already unstable field. New harvest target identified, HFY announced. A binary system approaching end stage. The energy could support development in the Outer Rim territories. Plot the course, Maya ordered, and send word to all participating species. This is their project now too. As Atlas I prepared for its next mission, Maya thought about how far they'd come. The monsters had not vanished. They had evolved, transformed by understanding and cooperation into something greater. The harvesters still drank the light of dying stars, but now they shared it with any world that needed it. The fear was gone, replaced by a shared purpose. Humanity's desperate solution to their energy crisis had become something more, a symbol of what different species could achieve together. Ready for transit, Kator announced. All systems synchronized. Maya gave the command to proceed, watching as her human and alien crew worked in perfect harmony. The stars ahead beckoned not with terror, but with promise. The titanium fleet sailed on, no longer feared as beasts, but celebrated as beacons of hope in the darkness between the stars. The relief in the chamber was almost physical, multiple species expressing their emotions in various ways. But Sarah noticed something else. The way they were looking at the harvester display had changed. The fear was being replaced by something else. Understanding. Perhaps, Vexthor said slowly, we have been too quick to judge what we did not comprehend. Sarah stepped forward. Then let's change that. We invite Coalition scientists to work with us, to fully understand our technology. Because the truth is, we never wanted to be monsters. We just wanted to survive. The crisis had been averted, but something more important had been achieved. As the representatives began discussing terms for scientific cooperation, Sarah realized that sometimes it took facing a common threat to bridge the gap between fear and understanding. Outside the station, Helios 7 continued its work, its titanium panels now seen not as the maw of a star-eating beast, but as tools of preservation and protection. The monster, it seemed, had become a guardian. Dawn of cooperation. 1 year after the quantum cascade crisis, the observation deck of Harvester Atlas I looked very different from its original design. Workstations adapted for multiple species lined the walls, while holographic displays showed real-time data in 12 different scientific notation systems. Dr. Maya Santos stood at the central platform, surrounded by an unlikely team. HFY's crystalline form processed data streams, while High Commander Vexthor's son, Kator, adjusted the harvester's collection parameters. Even a Coalition engineer, once dedicated to destroying these machines, now worked to improve them. Energy conversion efficiency up another 12%, Kator announced, his scaled hands dancing across the controls. The new crystalline matrix design from the Meridian Conclave is performing beyond expectations. Maya smiled, remembering the fear these same aliens had shown just a year ago. Now they weren't just accepting the harvesters, they were helping to perfect them. We're ready to begin the first joint species harvest, she announced. All observation posts reporting in. Confirmations came from stations spread across 3 sectors. This harvest would be watched not with fear, but with scientific curiosity. The target was a massive dying star, one whose energy could power civilizations across multiple systems. Deploying modified panels, Tor reported. The view outside showed Atlas One's titanium surfaces unfurling, now inlaid with meridian crystals and enhanced by coalition quantum technology. What had once looked like a predator's maw now resembled an intricate work of art. Energy flow beginning. HFY crystals pulsed with excitement. Distribution networks standing by. This was the real breakthrough, not just harvesting the energy, but sharing it. New distribution systems, developed through cooperation between species, would allow the power collected here to reach worlds that had never dreamed of such abundance. The star's energy began flowing into the harvester's upgraded systems, but instead of the fearsome sight it had once presented, the process now looked almost beautiful. The combined technologies created patterns of light that rippled across space like aurora. Initial reports coming in from the outer colonies, Maya announced, reading from her neural interface. Power distribution successful. They're receiving stable energy feeds for the first time in their history. The observation deck erupted in multiple forms of celebration. Crystalline chimes, scaled tail slaps, and human laughter all mixing together. A year ago, these species had been on the brink of war. Now they were bringing light to the darkness together. Message from Earth Command. Kator reported. The Galactic Council has officially approved our proposal. The Joint Species Harvesting Initiative is now a recognized interstellar program. Maya looked around at her alien colleagues. No, her friends. Remember when you thought we were monsters? Vexthor, visiting the harvest observation, rumbled with what had become his version of laughter. We feared what we did not understand. You humans taught us to look deeper. And you taught us to look at our own technology differently, Maya replied. Harvesters were never perfect. Your improvements made them better than we could have imagined. Outside, Atlas One continued its work, now part of a growing fleet that represented not just human ingenuity, but galactic cooperation. The titanium beasts that had once inspired terror had become bridges between civilizations. First contact with fear. The massive view screen aboard the Stellar Research Station Omega displayed what Chief Scientist Maya Santos had been dreading to confirm for the past 3 weeks. Another alien fleet had gathered at the edges of the Arcturus system, their ships clustering like nervous insects around humanity's latest harvesting operation. They're broadcasting again, Lieutenant Chen reported from his communication station, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Same warning patterns as before. Maya nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the distant pinpoints of light that represented the alien vessels. Let them watch. Maybe this time they'll understand. The real show was at the center of their view. The HSV Prometheus, humanity's most advanced stellar harvester. Its massive titanium panels had fully deployed, creating a structure larger than Earth's moon. To the untrained eye, or in this case, frightened alien observers, it looked like an enormous metallic predator preparing to devour its prey. A dying red giant star. Harvesting sequence initiating, announced the automated system. The titanium panels began their careful dance, positioning themselves to capture the star's wasted energy. The technology that had saved Earth from its energy crisis now threatened to spark an interstellar incident. Maya remembered the day they'd launched the first harvester, 5 years ago. Earth's population had swelled to 12 billion, and even with fusion power and orbital solar arrays, they couldn't keep up with the energy demands. The harvesters had been humanity's last, desperate solution. Massive machines designed to capture and store the energy from dying stars that would otherwise be lost to space. But they hadn't counted on having an audience. New signal incoming, Chen called out. This one's different. It's being broadcast on all frequencies. The message appeared on Maya's personal display, automatically translated from the alien language. CEAC yours TELR QNCUMT Tion. I'm MEDAATLY. Your species HASBEE and designated as a C-1 threat to galactic stability. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. They tried explaining before, through radio signals, through mathematical proofs, through demonstrations. But how do you convince someone that the monster they see isn't really a monster at all? The Prometheus's panels glowed as they began absorbing the star's excess energy. To the aliens, it must have looked like their worst fears confirmed. A mechanical beast literally drinking a star's light. "Ma'am." Chen's voice was tense. "They're moving closer. Multiple ships are charging weapons." Maya straightened in her chair. This was what they'd feared might happen. Send them the technical specifications again. Show them the star's vital signs. They need to see we're not killing it. But she knew it wouldn't be enough. The aliens saw only the surface, massive machines of gleaming titanium approaching stars and making them dim. They couldn't understand that humans were simply being efficient, capturing energy that would otherwise be lost to the void. "They're not backing down," Chen reported. "More ships joining the formation. I'm counting. 27 vessels now." Maya watched as the alien fleet grew, their ships forming a loose sphere around the harvesting operation. She thought about Earth, about the billions of people depending on the energy these harvesters collected, about how humanity had reached for the stars not out of greed or malice, but out of desperate need. "Continue the harvest," she ordered, her voice firm. "But power up the defensive shields. If they want to see monsters, let's at least show them we're careful monsters." The Prometheus continued its work, its panels now gleaming with captured stellar energy. On the view screen, the alien ships maintained their distance, weapons hot but holding their fire. It was a standoff, humanity's need for survival against alien fears of what they didn't understand. As Maya watched the tension unfold, she couldn't help but wonder how many other civilizations out there had faced similar energy crises. How many had looked up at dying stars and seen not waste, but opportunity? And how many had held back, afraid of looking like monsters to their galactic neighbors? "Send another message," she told Chen. "Tell them we invite their scientists aboard. It's time they saw what these monsters really are." The harvest continued as they waited for a response, humanity's titanium beast drinking in the light of a dying star, while alien ships watched in horror. This, Maya realized, was how first contacts really happened, not with handshakes and diplomatic ceremonies, but with fear, misunderstanding, and the desperate hope that understanding would come before violence. "If they maintain their current formation for another 12 hours, Marcus explained, his voice tight, "they'll trigger a premature nova, not just of this star, but potentially a chain reaction affecting nearby systems." HFY's crystalline form vibrated with alarm. "Their fear of your machines consuming stars might cause exactly what they're trying to prevent," Marcus finished. "We need to convince them to move, but they won't trust a warning from us. But they might trust data from the Meridian Conclave." HFY's crystals pulsed rapidly as they began transmitting, especially when backed by irrefutable physics. Marcus watched the alien scientist work, hoping they could reach the coalition in time. The harvesters had been built to save humanity, but now they might need to save everyone. If only they could get their watchers to stop watching long enough to listen. Outside, the dying star continued to shed its energy into Helios 7's waiting panels, while coalition ships maintained their threatening formation, unknowingly pushing the entire system closer to catastrophe. The race was on to bridge not just understanding between species, but the gap between fear and reason itself. The Galactic Crisis. The emergency conference chamber aboard the neutral station Concordia was filled with representatives from 12 different species. The tension in the room was palpable as Admiral Sarah Chen stood before them, the holographic display behind her showing the impending disaster. "The Coalition fleet's containment formation has created a quantum resonance loop," she explained, her voice steady despite the stakes. "Combined with the dying star's unstable field, we're looking at a cascade failure that could trigger premature nova events across 3 sectors." High Commander Vexthor of the Coalition rose from his environment pod, his scaled skin reflecting the emergency lights. "This is a deception. Another human trick to protect their star-eating machines. The data comes from our own observations. interrupted HFY, the Meridian scientist's crystalline form pulsing with urgency. The conclave has verified every calculation. We have less than 6 hours before the reaction becomes irreversible. The chamber erupted in multiple languages, translation systems struggling to keep up with the panic. Sarah watched the chaos, remembering Maya Santos' words about fear being the real monster, now that fear threatened to doom them all. "We have a solution," Sarah announced, her voice cutting through the noise. The room fell silent as she manipulated the holographic display, showing a modified harvester design. "Our technology doesn't just collect energy, it can redirect it. We can use the harvesters to stabilize the quantum field, but only if the coalition ships move out of their current formation. And trust your machines near our worlds." Vexthor's translator crackled with skepticism. "The same machines we've watched consume star after star." A new voice joined the debate. "You've watched, but have you observed?" Dr. Marcus Zhang stepped forward, neural interface projecting data streams into the room's shared display. "Look at the stars we've harvested. Really look at them." The display shifted, showing before and after images of every star the harvesters had approached. The coalition representatives leaned forward, many seeing the data for the first time. "They're still there," whispered a botanical entity from the outer systems. "Dimmer, but alive." "We never killed them," Marcus explained. "We only took what they were already losing. And now, that same technology might save us all." The next few minutes were crucial. Sarah watched as the coalition leaders consulted among themselves, their translator channels buzzing with urgent discussion. Time was running out, and the quantum cascade was building. Finally, Vexthor spoke. "The coalition will withdraw to a safe distance, but we will maintain weapons lock on your harvester. One suspicious move." "Understood," Sarah nodded. "Helios 7, begin emergency approach." The massive harvester moved into position, its titanium panels reconfiguring into a new pattern designed to influence quantum fields rather than collect energy. The coalition ships reluctantly pulled back, their weapons still charged but no longer creating the dangerous resonance pattern. "Energy redirection beginning," Marcus reported, working alongside HFY at the control interface. "The harvester is actually using the stored energy from previous collections to stabilize the field." The assembled representatives watched in tense silence as the harvester, the very machine they had feared, worked to prevent disaster. Its panels glowed with transferred energy, creating a complex web of quantum interactions that slowly, steadily brought the cascade under control. "Field stabilizing," HFY announced, their crystalline form vibrating with excitement. "The chain reaction is being reversed."